sounds like Brother Randolph. He's got demons today.
Hey everyone, this is Ryan and Russ from AMS, and we had a chance to sit down with Robert Randolph today, talk about all of his rich history of collaborations, his beginnings, and even his Prosecco wine. Hope you guys enjoy.
We're here in the bowels of the Capitol Theater in Port Chester, New York, with Mr. Robert Randolph. So we talked
What's
about
up?
you were saying, a lot of these shows you come in and you add your flavor to all these proceedings, and sometimes it's a matter of showing up and having it rehearsed, and sometimes you go, I'll just wing it. What are we doing tonight?
A little bit of both. Wing and rehearsal. Last night I got a chance to play Dreams for the first time.
Oh yeah.
The Allman Brothers, Greg would never let me play it with him. So
Really?
I mean, they always be like, that's Warren, that's Derek, that's Bush. So I finally got to play it, which was killer last night.
So what was that dream come true, as we like to say? What did you add to it? Was there something you had specifically like worked out, or was it like
I just felt it.
Rip it.
Went through it, try to do something that would be totally Robert Randolph's signature style of playing, because it's already been no need me trying to copy Dickie or Dwayne or or any of the guys here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I try to just add the Robert Randolph pedal steel flavor, the spice.
But that must be nice, knowing that there's a lot of guys out there with traditional six strings, and they're kind of in that box of playing that tribute to the Allmans and that feel, and you go, I've got a whole nother layer to play with here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of wild because I went to that mode of like remembering how it was to play with the Allman Brothers when it was Warren and Derek and Greg and all those cats. So it's like I always had to make sure I played something very different style of slide.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's the cool part about this. It's like, all right, let me turn that mode back on. As much as I want to like try to play Dwayne's licks,
It would probably be hard not to want to. I mean, given
Dickie's licks,
the slide. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of wild because I didn't grow. It's not like I didn't grow up listening to the Allman Brothers. I grew up listening to my own church style of slide playing.
Okay.
And so even going all the way back when to playing with the Allman Brothers, which was like my first time playing with them, was like 2002.
Oh, wow, that far back. Okay.
Yeah, it was the Beacon, 2002. It was the first show I ever played with them when they did their Beacon run.
Yeah.
And actually before that, May of 2001, I had opened a show for Greg Allman's solo band.
Okay.
So that was actually the first time I actually met him. But yeah, it's always like, but Greg always be like, Robert. So imagine this. This is pretty funny, right? 2001, he's like, Robert, you guys need to work on your endings. Like the endings of the songs. And I was like, okay. And all through the years, he'd be like, Robert, you guys need to work on your endings. So now here we are in Nashville, doing this event in Nashville for like BMI or whatever it was. And this is what? A year before he died. Not even. I think he's like, Robert, sounds like you finally got some endings.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that pretty wild?
Yeah, it is.
20-something years later. So that was cool, man.
Do you remember you were like, I am gonna nail this ending, or was it like, I'm not listening
No,
to that?
I mean, I didn't even give it any thought.
Yeah, right.
I was just like, I knew like, okay, we got some endings, kind of thing. But I didn't think like, oh, let me show Greg we got some endings,
You articulated the Robert Randolph style though, because you don't want to fall into like those other Dickie, you want to be you.
Yeah.
It could be tough for self-assessment, but how would you define your sound, like you?
Well, my sound comes from my pedal steel, which is like sacred steel ancestry. So those are all of our like our versions of all the slide plants.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the sacred steel goes all the way back to the 1930s. So nobody knows who was before who or whatever. But I just know many of those guys never really listened to like the Allman Brothers or none of that. They were just creating their own style. So all throughout my history, I grew up watching those cats and sort of emulated those guys and was trying to copycat all of that. And so when I listen to it, it's kind of like, man, a lot of these licks are similar. Like knowing, but if like the guys that are remaining, like Ted Beard is 90 years old, he's alive now. He'll tell you, he's like, we didn't grow up listening to none of them, you know, so which is strange. So they developed their own style.
But it was Stevie that broke you into that kind of like...
Yeah, well, Stevie Ray Vaughan was the one that got me to try to play the pedal steel like a guitar and all of those blues licks and stuff. Because it's wild, because before that, I was like listening to like the jazz guitarist Norman Brown and like Wes Montgomery.
Yeah.
Other than our like church stuff and R&B or whatever it was at the time. And yeah, so Stevie Ray Vaughan got me into playing all of these blues licks. And
who introduced you to Stevie?
It was a cousin of mine from my cousins. He like, we was actually at a church funeral and he's like, guy on my job gave me this tape. I'm giving it to you. You need to learn this stuff. I was like 16, 17 at the time. And I was
Did it
like,
tear your head off?
yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I went all through the hood and Newark and all that, blasting Stevie Ray Vaughan. People like, what the f*** are you playing?
I remember the first time I heard you, I was like, there's no way that's a slide. It just, when I heard it, it sounded like pure energy to me. It didn't sound like any one genre. It just sounded like its own thing. How do you land on that? Is it just a soup of influences and then you add your own thing, or was it just...
Honestly, I just think it's ADD.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I mean, because I you know, as much as I understand music and the notes and certain chords and a lot of that, I don't really read music. And it's all kind of based off of feel and what goes. And, you know, I spent a lot of time, I guess, you know, I mean, I guess it's one of those things like growing up in church, you know, everything's sort of spontaneous.
It kind of comes through the air. It's just in your blood.
Yeah, you know, in one church service, you got all the styles of music. You know, you got a song with 10 chords, you got a song with 2 chords, you got a upbeat, slow, you got hymns and all of these different things. And so you got to make sure all the chords match up.
See, I was thinking
all on the right channel.
But and it's obvious when we hear you play. Obviously, you're comfortable sitting in with people because you know. Look, I've got my shit together. I know what I'm doing. But at the same time, is there anything that you were like, I'm going to see if I can slip this into church, and would you get in trouble for it? It was like that's the devil's music, or would that happen? Or
you a spot on, bro.
Really?
Somebody from my church is going to see this and I'm like, oh man, he used to get yelled at all the time.
And so do you keep going or do you go, my bad, I'll save that for later?
No, you got to stop because old ladies will get up and like,
hit you with their purse.
Like, oh, Brother Randolph sounds like he got the devil today.
And you're like, thank you. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, it's happened many times.
Really?
When I was a teenager, growing up.
But did you know you were onto something at that point? You were like, this is kind of cool.
No, I mean, I just would try it, you know?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. In church, you can't really take those chances.
Yeah.
Because they will definitely yell at you. The old people will let you know. You know, back at least when I was coming up and playing, you couldn't veer too far off because they will say, they'll get up and right in the middle of the service, like, sounds like Brother Randolph. He's got demons today.
Well, clearly your playing style is in high
blues
demand.
inside the church.
The devil's music. I love it.
Playing out there.
But clearly your playing is in high demand. I mean, you've kind of covered the gamut in terms of studio and stage. You've gone from even like recently Beyonce. I mean, you've had Kirk, Hammett, and Santana. The list has got to be miles and miles long.
Yeah, you know, and during the pandemic, they were like, we were kind of going and I forgot I had like recorded with Ringo on one of Ringo's records. I recorded with Ozzy. There's a Robert Randolph Ozzy. Yeah.
Wow.
Look it up. Sympathy for the Devil is a song we
I guess if Post
did.
Malone can do it, why can't you do it?
Me and Ozzy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Joe Walsh. Yeah, like it was all of these recordings that I forgot. Nora Jones. One of the first, that was like probably like the first studio recording that I did it was Nora Jones, the Dirty Dozen Brass Band, me. We were in some studio up in Woodstock, some big ass mansion or whatever it was. All Air Studios is what it was called.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was like the first, so it was like Nora Jones. So
She's great.
yeah, here we are with Beyonce recorded, you know, nominated now for the Grammys, these songs. So we'll see, you know.
So when something like that happens, are they like, hey, just come down, lay down some stuff, or do they have something preconceived where they're like, we really want you to work within
Yeah,
this?
the Beyonce thing was totally top secret.
Was
like,
it?
I didn't even know it was good. They were like, hey, Beyonce wants you to come to LA. Can you get there like tomorrow? Like, do you have anything? No, I don't have anything. And all right, sit tight. And it's like, okay, there's a car coming to get you in 2 hours and the flight's booked. And
That's all hush hush.
get on the flight. Oh, yeah, you couldn't say nothing.
Do you say something like Beyonce who?
No, Beyonce.
Okay, fine, that's it.
Yeah.
So is there any nerves for any of these artists? Or you, at this point, you're just, it doesn't even, you just go in, you know the task at hand, and that's it.
That's always a little nervous because everybody wants you to approach, if it's their record, they want you to approach it very differently. So, which is always weird to me. It's never, and so you never know what anybody wants.
Sure.
Because for me, I'll just be like, no, I'm just gonna play over the whole song. And you guys can edit it.
Cut
It's
it
like,
out,
no. Which sometimes it works and a lot of time it doesn't.
Yeah.
So who's left on that list? I mean, who have you not worked with? Who would be like the dream? Like, I've not worked with this artist and I would love it.
The dream, the person alive. Let's see, Stevie Wonder.
That would be a good one. Yeah. You want to make that happen?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Russ will call him
Make
for
it
you.
happen.
Yeah.
It's almost happened once, a couple years ago, actually.
I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised you haven't played with it. I would have thought you had by this
I mean,
point.
we jammed. Actually, we jammed at NAMM before.
Oh,
You know, he
But-
walks around and does that. Yeah, we did a whole like jam thing at NAMM.
wow.
Yeah.
That must have been a thrill.
But like not an actual like recording. So like, hey, there's Robert Randolph and Stevie Wonder,
Right.
So yeah, I would say Stevie. Oh, and I want to jam with the Red Hot Chili Peppers one day.
that
the
makes
whole
sense.
Like,
I could hear
give
that.
it away, give it away.
Yeah,
give it away
yeah.
now.
That would be wicked, yeah.
Or Californication,
Yeah.
Sure. Dirty it up.
Californication.
Well, plus they bring that funk, and there's such a funky element to what you do
Yeah,
as well.
it's funky.
So you would be right at home there.
Yeah. So I'm working on the Red Hot Chili Peppers thing.
Nice.
now.
All right.
So stage or studio?
And the Stones, of course.
Oh my gosh, of course.
I'm really trying to get on the Stones next tour, so I'm trying to
Wow.
maybe I could jam with them.
That'd be a big one.
Yeah,
Are you more stage or studio if you had to pick one?
I like them both.
Yeah, even
Honestly-
split, you couldn't do it.
Honestly,
Any
I
other way.
don't. What'd you say?
You couldn't do it. You'd have to do both. You couldn't just pick one if you had to.
Yeah, because the weird part about you write a song, you record it, it's that whole high of like listening to it, like yes, we did it. This
Yeah.
is great, and then you want to go play it live and like have the people share
Sure,
that
respond.
same joy.
Yeah.
And there's many times people are like, this new song sucks. Play the old one. Every band has been through that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
So which is, so that's what I'm saying. So you never know. Every band loves to go in the studio when it's time to go in. And then we all love to go on the road and play the songs. And it's all different types of joy. And it's a whole nother mindset too. Playing live as recording, So it's all, I mean, to me, it's all fun, but I've definitely been doing a lot of recording the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably recorded like 80 songs.
How do you whittle that down when it's time to kind of put out something? What do you think?
Honestly, I let other people pick.
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
They're all
'cause-
like your children at that point.
yeah, you like them all. And somebody's like, which I kind of like it, the producer would be like, whoever I'm working with, I'd be like, yeah, the song is going to be like, actually it's not.
And you take
It's not
that in
that
stride?
great.
You're like, okay, whatever. Or is
Yeah, I
it
don't
like,
mind.
what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
I don't mind. Because, hey, we got a new song to play live,
Fair enough.
Sure.
Then I'd be like, told you this was great.
Vindication. So let me ask you this. Sunday rolls around. You stroll into church. Are they like, ooh, Robert's here, Mr. Big Stuff? Or is it like, sit down, play what you did when you were
Well,
a
when
kid?
I go to church now, I don't even play.
Oh, you just sit
No,
there?
I'm like the sound guy, man. I'm like, I go to other churches. People don't even know who I am. I just go there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I'll go there and I sit there and they like, hey, sir, you mind paying some money in the collection plate? Yeah, no problem.
You ever see some kids there and you're like, they could be your protege where you're like, I could mold this kid into something or.
Yeah. Well, my old church organization, there's a lot of young kids playing now and they're actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sound surprised.
There's a lot. I mean, Well, it took a while to get there for like these younger. They're like 20, 21 now. Some of them, and they're actually good.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay, all right.
Does it kick you on the butt a little bit?
Oh yeah, there's a couple of them that is pretty good, man. I was surprised, you know. So I played for the first time in like 30 years almost. I went like our main church convention down in Nashville. I played there this past summer. So they let me play there. And so I got a chance to it's the actual. So that was a whole experience, you know. But I got a chance to see some of the younger guys play. And I was like, man, these dudes are good, man.
Steal a few licks from somebody.
Yeah.
Final question. Tell us a little bit about your wine.
The Robert Randolph Prosecco.
Ooh,
You heard it here.
You gotta get it. Comes straight from Italy.
Okay.
Straight from Italy, right to Delaware. You gotta order it. rrprosecco.com.
Flashing underneath him.
Robert Randolph Prosecco, get it. It's the best clean Prosecco.
Get the Tommy Cutlass.
When did
it
you
has
start that
immunity.
How long ago?
Huh?
When did that start? How long ago?
Well, it's kind of funny because it started out just like as a joke. And a lawyer I know, she was like, hey, you post about Prosecco every morning when you're traveling. Why don't you get your own Prosecco and, you know, and all of this stuff. And I was like, he's like, oh, we know this guy, Paul Cullen, who used to be in a band Bad Company. He has a whole deal with the vineyard out in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, it took like a year. They were like, hey, the Prosecco's being made right now. And, you know, I'm like, what?
I was kidding.
So now we're like full throttle, and I'm like figuring out the wine business, you know,
that's great.
all of the distributors, and it's a lot of work, you know, but it's fun, you know.
Isn't that funny?
People ordering
Zach
it?
Brown, Dave Matthews, Maynard.
Yeah, they're all, it's that wine vibe. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's got.
But I don't think they have Prosecco, though. I think they're the
No,
only
they
one.
don't. They're not Prosecco.
Their wine is not as good as the Robert Randolph Prosecco.
You heard it here, folks.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Get your
again,
Robert
Robert,
Randolph.
so
Thank
much
you,
for
guys. I
joining us, man.
appreciate
We
you.
really
Thank you.
appreciate you
Kill it
sitting
tonight.
down.
Thanks a lot,
Have
brother.
a good one.
Want to give a huge shout out to our pal Robert Randolph for taking the time to sit down and talk with us today. We hope you enjoyed it. For more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe and check us out at AmericanMusical.com.